Welcome. My name is William J. Rothwell. You can call me Bill. And I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes about rethinking diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I recently published a book along with my colleagues, Jamie Campbell and Philip Ely, on that topic. And we wrote the book for people who had been tasked with the job of setting up a diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging program inside an organizational setting. And perhaps those people had never received any kind of formal training on how to set up a change effort inside an organization that was meant to fundamentally alter the thinking of the people in the organization about how to deal with each other. And so consequently, we felt that an action manual was needed to help people who are tasked to set up a change effort, a diversity effort, to do that. And so we came up with a 10-step model. And my partners, Campbell and Ely, were not the only contributing author to this book. We included contributing authors who had actually lived through this process of setting up an organizational diversity, equity, and inclusion effort. And working together, we came up with a 10-step model on how to implement an organizational diversity, equity, and inclusion program. In this brief video, I'm going to go through those key 10 steps. I'm not going to do it in great detail. I'm simply going to tell you the 10 steps. And the first step is define your organization's culture. In other words, what do people believe? What do people practice in your organization? What's taken for granted? And culture comes about as a result of shared experience, the shared history of a group of people working together. Where did Egyptian culture come from? From the 6,000-year history of the nation of Egypt. Where did Chinese culture come from? From the 5,000-year tradition of China. And where did the US culture come from? From the 200-year history of the United States. So where does the history come from for your organization? First, you have to do some cultural audit homework to figure out basically where is your corporate culture today. In step 2 of the 10-step model, we clarify the role of diversity, equity, and inclusion in shaping the culture. You know, one of the big tasks there is even defining what we mean by the term diversity, equity, and inclusion. Oh, sure, there are dictionary definitions of those terms, but very often the process of coming up with a shared definition of those terms itself is a culture change producing effort. Step 3 of the model is clarify who has the authority to change culture. In other words, who are the decision makers? Who are the people who have the greatest say in the nature of the organization? Often we follow our leaders. If our leaders demonstrate good behaviors, people follow those. If our leaders demonstrate bad behaviors, our people follow those. So we need to know who are the leaders who basically help to shape the culture and role model the way people should behave. In step 4, identify and define the pipeline. How do people get selected into an organization? How do people move around inside? How do people get promoted? And those become key questions, and those also are very important in terms of establishing a diversity, equity, and inclusion culture. Step 5 is develop talent. So we don't want to have quotas. What we want to do is develop people so that everyone has an equal shot and is well qualified for the positions that they move into. In step 6, we navigate emotions and other relational dynamics. These days, if you mention diversity, equity, inclusion, and those other topics related to it, such as social justice, belongingness, and other topics, sometimes that evokes emotions, positive or negative, and we have to be prepared to deal with those and school our leaders on how to cope with those. In step 7, we showcase the organization's talent. In other words, we give people visibility. We often talk about the competencies, the personal characteristics needed to advance in an organization. But one thing that research has demonstrated over the years is that you won't get promoted if the leaders don't know who you are. Visibility is critical in advancement. And in diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, it's important that we give equal access to everyone in order to create a welcoming climate for everyone. In step 8, we promote the organization's talent. Now, promote there doesn't mean give people a new job title and a move up the organization chart. We're talking about marketing the organization's talent. In other words, showing it off, giving it a spotlight, put people in the spotlight to show what they can do. In step 9, we develop employee resource groups. We encourage people to work with other people from similar backgrounds in order to share their common challenges and their success stories in how to work through those challenges so that they can essentially mentor each other. And the 10th and final step of our model for implementing diversity, equity, and inclusion is evaluating the results and the processes. How well did it work? Did we end up with a changed corporate culture, changed in a positive way? How did we measure that? Did we establish goals at the beginning that were measurable, SMART goals? And are we able to track those, that goal achievement over time? So there you have it, the 10-step model that is the centerpiece of our book and is meant to provide a roadmap for those who are tasked with the daunting challenge of implementing a diversity, equity, and inclusion program in an organization that perhaps does not have one. And so that means the need to implement such a program and thereby bring about a corporate culture change. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to click the subscribe button for the channel and indicate that you like this video. Thank you very much.